Hello, folks. It is me. I'm Biggy, and I am back. And welcome to a kind of an unscripted tier list video. This video is going to be split into two parts, which is first off the alignment chart here, and as well as the tier list, just a proper good old tier list of the magic spells here. And the reason I am spreading this way is because I'll need both of them as kind of a reference point for my next bigger project, which is a complete review of the magic system in Unlimited SaGa, and probably some of the fixes that I would make or I would suggest. But yeah, I know I'm probably losing a few bit of sanity points, so to speak, doing this on an obscure game, which I don't know if it's going to be remastered or not. And if it's going to be remastered, they probably want to overhaul the whole thing, like I said, anyways. But that being said, it's probably now time for us to do a deep dive into the various spells, magic spells in Unlimited SaGa. But before we do that, I want to first credit information sources. You could check out the description down below as well on where this is. But first off, I wanted to thank you, Ramtjager's FAQ. Ramtjager's FAQ is the most comprehensive FAQ of Unlimited SaGa that's available online that's in English. And the reason why it's so comprehensive is that he directly translates from the Japanese version. Directly translated it from the Japanese physical textbook, which is a lot of effort. Ramtjager, if you're still on the internet or you're still here somewhere, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all this work that you've done on GameFAQs. Yeah, you don't get paid for making reviews, making game guides on GameFAQs, right? So, anyways, I don't know that, but I wrote a couple of FAQs myself. It's not an easy thing to do, especially without kind of any return on that these days. But enough of that. Thank you. And the other thing that I actually wanted to acknowledge, the other site would be the SaGa Fandom wiki, and I'm using SaGa Fandom's wiki as a reference point for the names of the magic spells, because although Ramtjager's FAQ is the most accurate at the time and with the most information, it is also unfortunately suffered from not being able to know what the names of the spells are in English, because it's translated from the Japanese version and the names are different. And these spells are the rarity. First off, these kind of things and information is done by hand manually, and this was before the days of emulation and save states. So there's no way that Ramtjager would be able to sit on the PS2 for thousands, I would say thousands of hours, and try to get the magic spells that we need to actually learn to be able to make some of these spells. Like, for example, Crimson Flare, Fire Screen. Some of these spells are just so rare that it is probably not worth seeking them out. But anyways, yeah, it's still called Moving Firewall in the FAQ on Ramtjager. So Ramtjager's FAQ is the most accurate, except for the names. I need to reference my names from here, and even some of the names here is incorrect. But yeah, we'll address all those things as we go along. But that being said, now, oh no, not this window. We're just gonna get ahead and get started on my list here. Without further ado, I did enough of an introduction. I also want to thank my members, Apilux, Randamanta, Sephiroth Veil Doubled, and Rafael Vega Chapa, and Techno. Thank you for being members, supporting my channel monetarily. If you're interested in actually doing that, help me with my recovery and all that good stuff, or want to see more SaGa content, be sure to have a look over there as well. It really helps the channel out a lot. Otherwise, like the video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you want to see more, click on the bell to get notified for whenever I go live, etc. And that out of the way, finally, we could talk about each of these spells. I'm first using this alignment chart. You can see that I've ranked useful spells on top and useless spells on the bottom. And the more common the spell is, or easiest the spell to find, is on the right, and on the left is the rare or really obscure, hard to obtain spells. And yeah, that's actually going to factor in a lot in the review of this game, of this system, or the magic in this game. And first off, the spells, the list of spells. There are a total of 68 spells in the game, which is unfortunate because if we added one more, it would have been nice. You know, 69. 69 joke everywhere, but 68 spells, 60 spells, 12 spells of each element, as well as 8 forbidden spells that can only be learned through magic tablets. And there are a total of 5 spells that are attached to familiars of level 1s through 5. And there are 4 spells that are exclusively learned through magic tablets. And no, 3 spells that are exclusively learned through magic tablets, and 4 spells that are highlighted in yellow. They're going to be the blended spells, right? So I try to actually make the magic tablet spells a little bit silvery, if you can actually see some of them in silver, but I failed. It doesn't look good enough on the icons here. Oh, one more website I'd like to thank Leonardo.ai for creating these icons for me. If you're wondering how I managed to make it look so cool and stuff. Anyways, let's get things started before we lose any more track of our time here. First of all, easiest one would be fire. Let's talk about some of the spells here and what they do. Fire, according to the guide of Rantjäger, it says it causes damage and increases strength. Number of spells related to direct attacks are numerous. Attack all enemies with powerful spells. So that's the gist of fire. Fire is a very offensive, strong element in terms of attack. It's very easy to. It has very straightforward on what it does here. Let's talk about each of them in turn here, and I'll talk about why these spells will be ranked accordingly. But yeah, so let's get started with the Veil spells. Fire Veil is target, and under all the other Veil spells is self-targeting, which means that they're actually very limited in its use, but it is also the first spell in the familiars line. When to explain to the uninitiated, familiars are basically pets you keep, and they cast your spells for you, so you don't need to learn these spells, and they're available. So it is going to be super easy to obtain, and most of the playthroughs that you get familiars anyway, because they are panels that save durability, basically. Anyways, Fire Veil is up there in terms of availability. Almost all mages eventually learn it. That's the thing, because they're almost always in lower level tablets, and higher level tablets, it's everywhere. Fire Veil's in all fire tablets, to all the ways 1 through 4, and it's even on the middle tablet as well, as you can see over here on the fire familiars as well. And all it does is that adds damage to the fire element. The problem with adding damage to the fire element in this way, it doesn't tell you how much. That's unfortunate. It's like if it tells you how much damage is added, then it'll be interesting. But as of now, it's doesn't. Yeah, it's not enough to be able to tell what it's for. But what it always is useful for is that it's also always useful for using it for Magic Blender. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Fire Veil, and in this instance, all of the Veil spells onto the right here as really common. And I'm going to put the usefulness somewhere around down here. They're useful for what's called Blender fodder. So when you use Magic Blender, these also almost always have yeah, I'm just going to try to put them close to each other. Oh no, they're not going to. Yeah, I'm just going to put all the Veil spells over here. Unfortunately, that means it'll couple up each other, but that's fine. You have Earth Veil, Metal Veil, and then Wood Veil over here. And the last Veil spell would be the Water Veil. Yep, let's pop you right in. Yep, give me a sec, folks. Yep, Water Veil spell. Yep, so the Veil spells are just over here. They're super common, easy to find, and they're lacking in usefulness. If the game has some UI improvements, like in terms of it's not so much how much damage it increases. The game also doesn't tell you for how long or how many turns, which is it's actually a UI problem more than a spell problem. So if the UI is improved in a remake for some odd reason, then these spells will be a little bit more useful. Next up are the detect spells. The detect spells are Aura over here, detect animal, detect gold, detect veggie plants, and detect undead. You could also already probably tell what detects are in terms of what they do. So let's go with the most obvious ones first. Detect animals will be down here. Detect animal will only detect beasts and wildlings. Detect veggie plants will detect plants, most likely. Detect gold, however, I'm going to rate slightly higher than some of these guys. I'm not sure how I could actually put it so it's up in front here, but yeah, it's going to be rated a little bit higher than, no, I'm not able to. Uh, it's going to be up a little bit higher than the rest of the detect spells here. And because they're used to look for things like treasure, and it detects wherever there's like gold on treasure chests. So relatively useful in that it compared to all the other spells. And like I said, it is also one of the spells that you're most likely to procure here. But actually, I'm going to lower it a little bit because and put it to the left a little bit because detect gold. Uh, the detect spells have two uses. I haven't mentioned it yet. So what it does is the detect aura uh, lowers the defenses of certain enemies, right? Lowers the defense of certain enemies. Detect aura lowers the defense of demons and dragons, but also it actually lowers defenses of slimes, I think. And the current location reveals enemy's location on the form. If you use it on the field, which is on the map, you'll be able to reveal the enemy's location as well. That's one more thing that I need to add. Some of these spells actually have different uses in them on the map and on the field. The only downside of using these from familiars, for example, is that familiars don't actually have field have field skills, have their magic available on the field. Instead, they have what's called guide, their replacement guide spell, and that in and of itself is much more useful than some of these spells are. Reason being is that detect auras and detect all certain types of enemies are so useless. You can get to see, okay, you have basically on your character a kind of like a radar already for the most adjacent units. So I don't think there's a point in trying to look around for enemies or where enemies are. Yeah. So if you're trying to speed run things or you're trying to avoid enemies, it might be useful, but the game is it's so hard to avoid enemies anyways, right? In this game, you played this game already. But yeah, detect spells are relatively useless. Detect gold might be a little bit more useless. I'm going to actually lower it a little bit more here, um, compared to all the other detect spells that I'm going to move slightly away in terms of rarity here. But yeah, so as you can see, detect gold slightly better than everyone else in terms of detect spells, but not particularly amazing here. But I need to put it somewhere that I actually notice that it's there. Okay. detect undead, also relatively useless. It is also useful in term. Well, useless is not like super correct here, though. I would say, detect undead, like detect spells really does lower the defenses. Oh, does it lower the defense or strength? I can't remember. If it lowers a little bit of the defense, then it's probably just worth casting on it. Yeah, it lowers defense, so it's probably just worth casting it maybe once at the beginning of the whole thing as a way to a increase the damage. But by the end of the game, they taper down in usefulness anyways, because your characters are usually already so strong in terms of damage that you don't need these spells at all. To what spells you need are uh, by the end game are recovery spells, defensive spells, and yeah, recovery spells and most likely recovery spells, high offense spells, and maybe some defensive spells. But that's pretty much it. That's what I usually rely on whenever I do my unlimited SaGa runs, anyways. But anyways, next up is probably one of the strongest spells in the game. I will. Okay, the check aura hasn't been put up on the board yet. Yeah, aura is useless as well. I think it's slightly more useless than the rest of the deck spells, even. But yeah, with that point aside, it's now time to put in the fire arrows. And if you want to guess where fire arrows lies, is right up. Come on, fire arrows. Right up here. Almost perfect. Fire arrows is very easy to find. You get fire arrows from equipment. You get fire arrows from familiars, which lets you cast it for free. And fire arrows, it has two uses. It has the just deals damage use over in combat. It also is used for unlocking magic locks. So it's just like S tier. It always is, because it's always ever so useful. And that's actually one of the problems of fire arrows, is that it is too useful. You don't need anything else really. And I'll share my reasons why as well later. But top tier spell, fire arrows. Next up is fire shield. Fire shield is now slightly rare, and it is very, very useless. Well, I think very useless is unfair. I'm gonna put it right over where the common spells are. Reason being is that fire shield, what it does, if we go over back to Ramjager's FAQ here, on the field, field and on the effect the same thing. It is a self-targeting spell, meaning that it only works on you, and it allows magical evasion from ice attacks. To explain briefly, there are four elements in the. There are three elements that are magical, which is fire, ice, and lightning. Right. Um, this is one of them, and it is very limited. You need to have like the game knowledge to know which attacks have ice, and yeah, there's not a lot of them. It's probably useful for certain bosses, but of course, using up one of the 5 slots to put up a defensive spell that might or might not actually work is very risky. Always. And they might not even target your character. So it's going to be a rough sell, a hard sell, in terms of what the using this particular defensive spell. There might be some edge cases where all the enemy does is cast water spells, but I only think of low level Aquans that do that, which is useless by the time that we have it. And next up is Power Surge. Increases our strength, is a familiar spell. And I'm torn about this one. Power Surge is a familiar spell, so it is not that hard to find. So let me just pop Fire Shield a little bit further this side. It is not super hard to find, but increasing strength is kind of useful like really early in game, where your character strength isn't up there yet, and it might be useful against certain bosses, make certain bosses easier, but I'll be honest, the entire game, usually the entire Unlimited Saga run, usually is just a cakewalk up until the final boss. Um, there are very hardly any instances where you jump into an adventure that's too hard and you're unable to fight with the enemy because you don't have enough strength. And this is a strength up spell, so it's used on characters that might want to deal a little bit more damage than usual. And by the time you reach the end game, this isn't necessary because damage is capped. The damage of physical attacks is capped at 3 LP damage per attack. So even if you want to boost your character's strength as much as you can, the attacks that you will use by the end of the game will be at the cap anyways. So that's why Power Surge is relatively useless, I think, in this case. Um, yeah, I'm gonna put it next to the Fire Shield in terms of rarity as well. So Power Surge is down there somewhere, despite being quite common. Next up are the 3 spells that are a little bit harder to find. There are spells that are only available through magic tablets. Yeah, then those are Firewall, Holy Seal, and spell that must not be named. I don't want to get demonetized yet. So Firewall will be nullifying HP damage from ice attributed attacks for the rest of the round. Yeah. So basically, we're saying this is a targeting for all allies. And this spell is only available on a level 3, a level 4 Fire Tablet, level 3 Earth Tablet, and a level 3 Forbidden Tablet. So, on the rarity scale, I will put it somewhere over here. It is already, like, the rarity is over here in terms of rarity. Because it is hard to find. We need either a level 3 or level 4 tablet of certain types now. And Firewall is going to be up there, and its usefulness is somewhere down here. Simply because it's hard. Yeah, it's this. You start to get kind of an idea of what problems you might have over here as well with the Unlimited Saga magic system right from the get-go. Holy Seal, level 3 fire, level 3 metal, level 4 wood. Also super rare to find. It deals damage. Yeah, Firewall also, I didn't mention earlier, it creates an impassable wall on the field map for 4 turns. And this one deals damage with an LP base of 4. I forgot to mention LP bases. So this damage of the spells is calculated by we'll also have a certain bit of LP damage. So the ranking starts from 0, where it deals no LP damage, and the higher the number, the more chance it will deal piercing damage to the enemy's LP. So Holy Seal is in this kind of rare, hard to find spot as far as spells go. So I'm going to put it like over here, and useful kind of up here. It's a little bit better than fire arrows in terms of strength, but I think the rarity makes it a little bit less useful. Also, it also has a different effect on the field that is used to keep the enemies away. Next up is the spell that must not be named. LP damage of 3. Only available in type of fire level 4, so you could imagine it is being very, very rare. But unfortunately, the spell that must not be named is right here in terms of use. It's like right there. I want to put it higher, but I can't. The spell deals damage to all enemies as long as you find the spell. It deals damage to all enemies for, yeah, and it deals not little damage. It deals the most damage out of all the multi-enemy spells. It is the strongest spell in the game, bar none, for dealing with multiple enemies, and not including Blender spells. So that's easy explained over there. Okay, next up, I need to actually move the things on here because things are actually I don't have enough time to explain everything. Okay, next up is the fire screen. What fire screen? The spells in yellow over here. I will explain are spells that are blended. Blender requires the magic blender panel. The magic blender panel is rare, so these will definitely be on the rare side of the game here, in terms of how hard it is to cast these spells. We have what are the spells here? Yeah, we have intensity, which inflicts berserk. If you don't know what berserk is a status element that increases your attacks for melee, um, melee, uh, and all strength-based weapons, but at the cost of losing, um, like at the cost of losing damage on non-strength based weapons. So your bows, knives, and guns will deal less damage, whereas whatchamacallit, bow, knives, and guns will deal less damage, and your magic will do less damage. You also take more damage, right? So, like I said, the efficacy of status boosting spells is very limited. You can see by the power surge here. And unfortunately, what that means is that we're going to put this somewhere over here. Yeah, it's rare and it's useless. And I'm just going to do this now as kind of a spoiler thing. I'll need to move these things over here a little bit, not because of not because of the fact that it's quite rare. I would definitely put it back where it was in terms of rarity, but I will need to reserve space on the far right for the most rare spells. So I'm just going to move things a little bit slightly over here. Yeah, firewall, relatively okay in terms of usefulness. Yep, rarity should be somewhere here for this little guy. And move this over here. And next up is Power Gust. Moving Firewall, actually. Moving Firewall is a blender spell. It uses Holy Seal as the base. So that's a problem, because Holy Seal is quite rare. And what it does is that deals damage to all the enemies, nullifies damage to party members from ice attributed attacks for the rest of the round. It does, that's pretty interesting in terms of what it does, in terms of what it can do. It is a sweeping attack that deals damage to all enemies and gives us a little bit of defense. Sounds pretty good on paper. Unfortunately, what the game doesn't tell you is that it deals no LP damage. Spells that deal no LP damage is useless for attack spells. Period. Because if it deals no LP damage, all it does is that it reduces the HP of enemies. You're also not guaranteed to kill off as many enemies as quickly as possible. So, Fire Screen, I'm sorry, you are like just you're a little bit better than Intensity, but you're also a little bit rarer than Intensity. Yep. Next up will be Power Gust. Power Gust is what Ramtiger usually refers to as the increased better solar flare, but I'm using solar flare to avoid using the C word. It is basically just a slightly better version of that spell. It deals 4 LP damage as opposed to 3, and it is easier to blend, right? Why it's easier to blend is, if you could actually see here, is that it uses mostly fire elemental stuff and wood elemental stuff. So if you just have fire veils, wood veils, and all that good stuff, and easier spells, you could probably be able to blend Power Gust. Basically, it's a lower investment spell than a Crimson Flare, but it deals also a little bit less damage. So the gust should be somewhere over here, which is some like here. I think the gust should be somewhere like here. Yeah, there we go. I don't think it should. I think it should eclipse the fire screen in terms of rarity though. So move you here a little bit. This is just in anticipation of the future of what's going to be on the left side. And next up, which is Crimson Flare, I'm just going to go ahead and put it right here. Yep. So powerful. Like it is a goal of every fire mage to actually get this spell. And the reason is actually, I'm going to add a little something here. I'm going to move it over here. Yeah, I'm going to move it right over here. Why this is the case is that why they're equidistant to each other. And maybe I would even put it closer to this side. Why this is that all the ingredients that you need for this particular tablet, for this actually spell to be blended, you only need one level 4 fire tablet. Because the ingredients for this spell, you only need one level 4 fire tablet, which is enough to find. Well, it's not easy enough to find. You need one level 1 or level 2 earth tablet, which has boulder, which isn't hard to find. That's what I wanted to say. But the other ingredients will be just, hey, you need this spell that shall not be named. Oh, okay. It's a level 4 fire tablet. Oh, you need another spell that isn't ingredient of this spell over here. Oh, it's a level 4 fire tablet. Oh, you need another one for this one over here. It's a level 4 fire tablet, you know? So, which dwarfs the need for us to go and say, okay, do you need the base spell of this? Oh, it's a level 4 fire tablet. What are the other spells that you have? Oh, just ones you could pick up from random level 1s and level 2s and level 3 tablets. So, on the wayside, Power Gust becomes absolutely dwarfed in comparison to the Crimson Flare. Because this one deals 4 LP damage, and Crimson Flare deals 6. It deals damage, it deals more damage, has both heat and lightning attribute, and it deals damage and inflicts darkness. It just does everything. Like, it does everything you need for the spell. So, and you can either blend it to using fire arrows as the base, or using the spell that must not be named for the base. And that in and of itself, being able to use fire arrows as the base spell, and cast Crimson Flare using your familiar. This is just the, because blended spells will replace the spells that you use as the base. So basically, oh, you have a familiar, you have Magic Blender, you have all the prerequisite spells, good. You can cast the spell for free. No durability wasted. You can cast it every turn. Deal damage to all enemies. Even though it does say single enemy, but it also depends on which spell you use as base as well. So you could, yeah, this is just, okay, BAP, hit one single enemy really hard, or BAP, hit multiple enemies really hard, or BAP, hit this one enemy really hard, save the spell that must have been named for dealing with large groups. And spoiler alert, the last boss is a single enemy, so it's no real use for us to actually blend any other spells to be able to deal damage with this guy. Okay, I've spent 36 minutes, and I've only talked about one element, so I need to actually go ahead and do as quickly as a thing as I can. Over here, let's talk about the earth element. I didn't want to actually do that. The remaining earth spells. Boulder. Boulder deals damage. That's the same thing as fire arrows. It's earth spell. So it's going to be over here. Same rarity, but a little bit less useful because it does a little bit less damage. Okay, moving on. Sleep, what it does, as well here is, come on, move forward, please. Down, I mean. Yep. Like animals, beasts, and wildlings only. Boulder deals damage. Used for unlocking treasure chests. Sleep, inflicts sleep. Basically, if sleep only works on beasts and wildlings, and it just cancels all their actions for the rest of their turn, which is kind of useful, but very limited. And you know the name of the game, it's Unlimited SaGa, so it's gonna be somewhere around, I think, middling in terms of usefulness. And yeah, it is a free spell, so I would just say that it's okay-ish. It's a little bit more useful, I say, than fire arrows, because usually if you have a higher level um, familiar and you meet up with a wildling or a beast that, oh yeah, I could actually cast sleep here. No investment needed. It's fine, easy. So that's sleep. Build up is increasing in, if I believe, it is this increase in strength and endurance. Okay. Like I said, because of its availability, which is pretty high, it is going to be somewhere over here. But unfortunate, like somewhere over here in terms of rarity. But unfortunately, like I said, we'll need to move it somewhere over here close to the power surge and make them right nice and close on each other. But yeah, that's the thing. Build up, power surge, never really useful in any certain points in the game at all in terms of spells that is used, because it can also be used to, like I said, it'll help you deal more damage early, but if you know what you're doing in the game, you'll probably get higher level items anyways by this time, that you'll be able to deal so much damage with enemies that it wouldn't matter. All right, so moving on from the familiar spells, we'll have Anti-Fear, Animal Charmer, and Aegis Shield. Anti-Fear cancels mental status elements on a single ally. Okay. Right there. Mental status elements aren't really like, first of all, it cancels mental status elements, yes, but mental status elements are rarely something to be afraid of, because mental status elements doesn't stop your characters from retreating. Physical status elements do. So if you by retreat, I mean going to the back line, and they could just spend a couple of turns in the back healing. And there aren't a lot of I don't think there's any mental status ailment that I could think of off the top of my head that is available, that is used in, say, on the field. So that already makes it completely useless here. And Animal Charmer. So for a short while, will prevent targets from using strong attacks. It is available only in the wood level 3. Only available on one tablet. That's one thing. On a skill that is nearly useless. That's the second thing. This is also why I probably consider Earth being one of the most useless elements in the game, because like most of its spells, so useless, like super useless, right? And but finally, Aegis Shield, rare, nice and rare here. It is only, well, to be fair, it is available on a level 3 or a level 4 Earth tablet, which a couple of characters start off with, which is nice. But as soon as we find the level 3 tablet or Guadagnini's level 4 tablet, it is an instant include in every single Earth Mage. But it is quite rare to find as well. So I'm just going to put it somewhere close to a little bit less than the spell that must not be named. But yeah, so Earth has 2 S tier spells, basically. Oh, but we haven't talked about most of the blended spells yet, so let's go over that. Power Rise, I think we will also put next to Intensity. What Power Rise and Mega Power Rise does, though, I'm going to put a little bit higher usefulness here. Power Rise and Mega Power Rise. Yeah, a little bit more useful. The reason being is that what it does is that cancels all ability changing effects first, and then uh, inflicts a strength up. So the ability of canceling status down attacks and increasing strength up is pretty nice. Unfortunately, what that means is that it'll take up a blender spot. And you could only blend 1 magic spell at once. So, okay, if you don't have any other better spells to blend, it'll be an interesting choice as well, but most of the time, probably you have a better spell to blend. Next up is Fear. Fear says that target a single enemy on the current inflicts fear. If it inflicts fear, it inflicts confusion instead. I think fear decreases damage, confusion. Okay, I didn't want to actually do that. Give me a sec while I move this back up to where the earth magic is. Come on, earth magic. Yep, current location keeps enemies away on the field as well, which is different. And next up, we will just put the fear over here. That's a little bit too harsh, but yeah, somewhere over here. On the bottom, next to the animal charmer, because it's a little bit rare to get. And yeah, I think that's the issue with the spell. It's so hard to actually get, and the payoff is so low. Yeah, that it is not worth it. Yeah, the payoff is just too low, and it uses up a blender space. So I'll be kinder to it and just say that it's a little bit. Yeah, you know what? Still useless. Down here, please. And finally is pellet. I'm going to actually put it right over here. Up and up. Right here. Pellet is super rare to blend. You need 2 separate level 4 tablets to be able to blend it. You need the level 4 fire tablet, and you need a level 4 earth tablet. Wait, let me just think that. No, you need actually a level 4 fire tablet. And yeah, you only need a level 4 fire tablet, and a level 1 and 2 earth tablet, level 1 and 2 fire tablet. I think that's the case. But I'm not quite sure. Okay, just give me a second to make sure that that's the case. I usually just look for the earth tablet anyways, in this case, because the earth tablet lets us cast the spell for stronger. But boy howdy, does pellet just kind of blow everything out of the water. It is another 6 LP spell, right? 6 LP damage spell, and it deals damage to all enemies. So if you're able to blend pellet once, basically you're done with your game. You have a spell that'll just clean up shop on every single playthrough. It's just it's as soon as you do this, it's no longer a matter if they're gonna win the game. It's just a matter of when you're gonna win the game now. You can just go straight to the final boss with at least 1 character with pellet, and then he'll just scream the enemy. Make mincemeat out of them. Unfortunately, it's actually also very rare to be able to blend it. Yeah, but anyways, stone rain, or more accurately pellet, is a massive spell, amazing spell. Cannot. It is basically any. It's any playthrough. It's kind of like the stars need to align for pellet to happen. but if it happens, you are in for a treat of a run. Okay, that point being aside, it's now time that we head to the metal stuff. Let's get started with the let's see what Ramtager says. Focused on equipping items as well as treasure chests. There are many spells that damage enemies. Yep, damage all enemies. Okay, we're gonna script metal veil and detect gold because we talked about those already. And get started with magic lock, which is in level 3 spell. It inflicts paralyzes on treasure slimes. Such a specific case. No, that's not what I wanted to do. It's like, oh no, it's such a specific case. Will it actually be of any use? Yeah, will it actually be of any use, I wonder? Actually, magic lock is somewhere over here. And reason being is that the edge case that it's used for, which is inflicting inflicting paralyze and treasure slimes, is if you are a magic user, you'll be needing it a lot. Because if you inflict paralyze on treasure slimes as your first action, you get to combo into the enemy, and if you're using save states, it'll be the kind of the definite need. Okay, all right, we've guaranteed the rest of the 4 actions will be able to combo straight into him for as much damage as you can, which is important for at any point in the game as well. So magic lock is a spell that I is not too rare to find, and I always come back to use it. Always. Next up is shock. Shock is one of the no, that is the only spell that is for familiar spells that deals damage that targets all enemies. Unfortunately, it only deals 1 LP damage to each to them. So that being said, it is still amazingly easy to actually get it early in game. A little less easy to find than fire arrows and boulder, but it is still relatively useful at that point, right? Next up, it will be the armor blessing, which is the last of the familiar spells. It adds 10 defense. I underrate using armor blessing a lot because armor blessing, it adds just flat defense to your character, and it does work, like does a lot of work versus bosses. Your characters take so much less damage. 10 defense is so much, especially once you are kind of high level with better gear and you have add like 10 more defense to what you already have. It is just really, oh well, probably not less. Yeah, magic lock should be somewhere around here. The same rarity as boulder actually. Armor blessing should be somewhere around here. You know what? These guys should have the same rarity. And yep, magic lock, boulder, sleep, armor blessing also relatively amazing. And like I said, if you happen to across a level 5 familiar of metal, you get to cast it for free. So that's relatively useful and easy to come by. Otherwise, you'll need to learn it from an earth tablet of level 3 to 4, level 3 level tablet. Already being available on a level 2 earth tablet is just fine. And me saying that is because level 2 tablets and level 1 tablets are just everywhere. Next up is Weapon Blessing. Weapon Blessings increase a weapon's attack by 6. These are non-familiar spells now. Only available in level 2 and level 3 metal and level 4 forbidden. So it is quite rare to find. And it is somewhere over here. Like I said, physical blessings for me is very, very limited in its use. Like limited. By the time you have it, it's not going to be relevant because your characters will deal so much damage anyways. And with that being said, there's a supersonic spell which deals damage and inflicts numb on all enemies. Numb effects on beasts and insects only, and it deals a little bit more damage than our shock spell, and it also keeps enemies away on the field, and unfortunately deals only 1 LP damage, as you can see here. And where does that lie on the scale? Well, it's going to be slightly rare. Well, the Supersonic is going to be in Earth level 3, Forbidden level 3, Water 3, 4, Metal 3, 4. So actually, it is not that rare. Supersonic is easier to find than most spells. And I think it's going to be somewhere equivalent to Holy Seal in terms of usefulness. Why I say that is that because, sure, it's a strict upgrade to Shock, but it's just so hard to find. But eventually, if you are building a Metal Mage, the upgrade's going to happen anyways, right? So it's better than Shock. Yeah, but unfortunately, it also already, like, the metal already has Shock. So yeah, if you are wanting to invest higher in a Metal Mage, it's fine. But the other kind of problem with investing in Metal Mage is that, as you can see here, Shock and Supersonic are the only 2 damage spells so far. Well, I'll explain Metal Mage's pros and cons a little bit later. But anyways, let's actually go ahead and continue on the thing here. Next up is Mind Lock. Allows magical evasion attacks with no attributes on a base evasion of 70 to 90%. Sounds amazing, right? Oh, I just need to have an attack with no attribute. So what does that mean? Before I answer that, I'm just going to go. Yeah, attacks with no attributes. What that means is it can't be a heat attack. It can't be an ice attack. It can't be a lightning attack. It can't be a hit attack. It can't be a pierce attack. It cannot be a slash attack. And it cannot be the light elemental attack. There's a difference between light and lightning, but basically it's light, not lightning. But basically there's only it's only effective against forbidden spells. It's 90% against forbidden spells, yes, but only against forbidden spells. Oh, wait a minute. How's the availability, though? Level 4 Earth, level 4 Metal. Horrible. Horrible in the terms of availability. Only on 2 tablets, and they're both level 4. It is absolutely not worth your time to actually blend this spell. And let's get started on the other metal spells, shall we? What's next? Sharpness, Gold Thumb, Siren, Detect Treasure. Let's start with Detect Treasure. Detect Treasure, what it does is it is allows increases enemy drop rates for items and magic. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Imagine spending 9 years in the game. Not 9 years. I've been playing since 2006. I didn't even know that. That increases drop rates for items and magic tablets. That changes things. That changes things so much. I'm going to need to put you somewhere over here. Maybe a little bit lower. But this is a must cast then. This is a must have now for any run. There needs to be at least one character that has Detect Treasure. Otherwise, there's no point in the farming tablets. We need a character with Blender, first of all, and now we need a character with Detect Treasure. I don't know how much of a percentage of a change this is, but this is a game changer. It uses detect gold as base, which is super plentiful, and it doesn't require too much investment in it either. Okay. I only knew that the Trek treasure uses reveals the location of chest items and magic tablets on the map's full view. That's all I was known. That's all I know it does. But I didn't even realize that the tech treasure uh was is secretly OP and secretly a must-have. All right, I guess we'll see if that's the. I'll need to test that definitely, but after my Gundam playthroughs, unfortunately. Anyways, sharpness. Magic Blender. Single ally increased equipped weapons attack by 12 other than staff and gun weapons. Uses the blender panel. Yeah, somewhere there. Yeah, so sharpness sounds fun, right? It does a lot of damage increase. And you know how I feel about damage increase spells. It doesn't do enough. Or it's useless by the time it probably arrives in your party. And with that being said, I need to revise my way of thinking in terms of metal mages now. Because definitely I just keep them having using detect treasure now. Other than Siren. Because there's no point in having them have anything else except for using Siren for bosses or certain enemies. Next up is Gold Thumb. Gold Thumb inflicts Petrify. Inflicting Petrify is pretty cool. It insta-kills the enemy, similar to Blackout. And I have been testing this on my Ruby run, and I'm going to place it right over here somewhere. It's not likely enough to happen. Like the percentage of actually having this deal gold not blackout petrify is so low. Comparison would be blackout. Blackout is really high, almost certain hit rate on certain enemies. It only works for beasts and certain enemies, and yeah, but it guarantees a knockout. So probably not like it's not worth it. As you can see, accuracy is down in yeah, accuracy is F. Not worth it. All right, and last but not least is the Siren. Targets all enemies, deals damage, doesn't do anything on the field, and I'm not gonna put it up on the same levels as Crimson Flare, but I think it is about the same in terms of easy to learn. But yeah, it is just like kind of like a mandatory upgrade from Shock if you're gonna invest yourselves in the Metal Mage. And I'll say it right now, it's not usually very good to invest in the Metal Mage unless your character's only good element is metal, right? And what Metal Mages do is that it attacks all enemies. All of its attacks, from Shock to Supersonic to Siren, is used to clean up multiple enemies at a time. Shock is available early enough in game so that Metal Mages become relevant. But by the time the end game comes, Supersonic and Siren slowly tapers off in usefulness because you get spells like Crimson Flare or the Fire spell that must not be named, or Ice Needle, yeah, which deals so much more damage to all enemies. Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to get Pellet, yeah, it's not, there's no comparison, right? Wow, I've been recording for an hour. Okay, I'll need to finish this as soon as I can. All right. Let's see. All right, Siren, you're done. Water, outside of War Magic Blender spells, the only HP recovery spells belongs to water. Since it doesn't, okay, I need to actually skip this because they ordered the elements wrong. This is just another pet peeve of mine, so let's head to wood first. Dealing damage spells is very scarce, but spells such as Life Boost, recycle missile guard value in battle. Maybe I'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, wood. Overgrowth. What it does is that let me just actually go through the spells list properly and go down over here. Overgrowth. Oh, come on. Yeah, overgrowth adds wood panels to the elemental reel. So you target an ally of the elemental reel is affected. Ah, interesting. Yeah. Overgrowth is absolutely useless. And the reason being is that this one of the problems innately in the game is that panels of well, first off, um, it adds wood to it, right? And already said by Ramtiager, uh, elemental like wooden elemental attacks are super scarce and hard to find, and that also adds that how damage is calculated is that it rarely takes panels into account in terms of which panels you land on. I think it adds like extra 5% damage to your attack. I think it's like slight. I'm not sure how slight it is, like 5 or 10%, maybe 5% damage to your attack, which is not worth it, not worth the trouble. And the only thing that you're going to actually have, spoiler alert, to do that is Thunderbringer, which is a spell that you need to actually find. So useless, not hard to find because it's a spell, but it's useless. Next up, life boost. Um, Single ally within battle, when not taking action, HP recovery rate increases by 50%. Basically, if your character is outside of the battlefield, their HP recovery increases. Not super rare, but I'm gonna put it somewhere over here in terms of usefulness. Reason being, life boost is it's kind of like, okay, if you don't have any other healing spells, it'll do kind of spell. The HP increase of this is extra 50%, which is not insignificant. But the other healing spells also cures, like does the same thing, but better. And basically, this is like a poor man's version of a healing spell. I think what Kawazu is trying to do something different in terms of healing for this life boost spell, and I understand. But unless it's something like 100% increase in HP recovery off camera, this is useless. It's not going to be used. Better alternatives out there. Well, the other alternative being water, right? But yeah, next up we have recycle. Recycle of all equipped items. This actually is incorrect. No, it's correct that it's actually only used on the battle. I don't think you can use it on the field. Of all equipped items, durability less than 30. The item in the uppermost equipped slot recovers 4 to 8 durability. And this, my friends, is an example of a spell that is super useful and not rare. This is an example of a good, flavorful spell that has its use and is like basically amazing and is not too rare. Recycle is one of my favorite spells. Durability recovery is rare in this game, and having it on a familiar spell, although it's like level 5 familiar spells, I know, but it's also available on other low ranking tablets, and it's just a nice spell to use once your characters don't have anything else to do. And you can target it not only on, I think the only issue with that spell is that the target is self. So any kind of wood mage is very like having recycle is just, chef's kiss, great for repairing stuff. And it's also a spell that doesn't require a lot of investment. So if you have a character that basically knows recycle and just pop in a random wood elemental bracelet or something. Oh, okay. I don't have anything else for him to do this turn. Oh, he's using physical attacks? Might as well repair the item. Otherwise, yeah. It's super useful all the way throughout the game. I love it. I love recycle. Right? Okay, so let's head on to some more spells. We have Missile Guard and Meditation and Thunderbringer, right? These are the tablet learning spells. Missile Guard you'll get from Fire, Earth, Water level 3 and Wood level 4. Creates HP damage from pierce attacks. Attributed attacks is nullified for the rest of the round. And I am going to actually give this a little bit of a boost, despite its rarity. It's not that rare, actually. You know what? I'm going to I might scatter everything towards the right a little bit. And its usefulness somewhere around here. Reason being is that Missile Guard is used in an exploit in one of my videos regarding learning skills and arts. If you go down to the Knight's Mausoleum or go up to the one of the towers in in SaGa, right? There's a guaranteed boss fight against what's called the Giant. And if you fight against the Giant, if you cast Missile Guard, 99% of his attacks will miss. Or more accurately, will deal 0 damage, HP wise. So as long as you cast Missile Guard first, you will always avoid all of his attacks. And since his monster rank is nice and high, you could basically spark all the skills and abilities you want on him. And it's a repeatable exploit. So Missile Guard kind of has a little bit of a boost in usefulness thanks to its extra use, right? Okay, just give me a sec, folks, while I talk to my caretaker. I need to have them prepare my lunch. All right, pardon me. I needed to actually prep some lunch there. This recording is taking much too longer than I thought it would be. But anyways, back in over here. Wait a minute. Just give me a second, folks. Nope, just no. Okay, no, not really. She's back later today, so not really the case. Okay, never mind. Right, I need to finish this video. Hurry, me. Right, Missile Guard, like I said, useful. Meditation cancels all ability changes effect and inflicts spirit and magic up. Also works on self and field. Available in Fire level 3, 4, Water level 4, Wood level 4. I'm going to put it somewhere up here in terms of usefulness, but also somewhere like over here. I think Meditation is just square, right smack in the middle somewhere here. Because canceling status downs is quite important, certainly, and increasing magic's okay. But more often than not, I tend to not able to use tend to not to be able to whatchamacallit. I'm gonna move this a little bit to the right here. I really tend to not use this. I usually just for normal battles. This is probably useful for boss type battles, right? And meditation will require us to use at the beginning of turns to inflict this on yourself, and then you add, yeah. It usually, because meditation is a self targeting spell, it's limited in its use because usually once you cast magic on a character, you want to rotate out your character so that other characters can get to do their same thing. So unless you're having your mages tank for several turns, which is not ideal unless you're building a tank mage of sorts, the meditation is not super useful. Because by the time you rotate your characters back in, their stats will be back to normal. Next up is Thunderbringer. Thunderbringer is in Water level 4 with level 3 and 4. It deals damage, 4 LT damage to a single enemy. And unfortunately, that's the only wooden damage spell. It is super useful, but it is also very rare. Yeah, it's going to be next to Aegis Shield in terms of rarity. No, actually, not next to Aegis Shield. Aegis Shield is only available. Yeah, I think buddy here with Aegis Shield, because Thunderbringer is just so useful. It's so damaging. That's the thing. Basically, if you have a chance to learn it, then you have to learn it. If you come across level 3 wood tablet or level 4 uh, wood or water tablet, it's first pick to any wood mage. So if you're lucky enough to actually have that happen, then definitely is a really interesting point there. But anyways, restoration. Okay. Magic Blendar. Um. Okay, so we're in the blender spells. Sorry, I already can see that I am slowly tapering off here because I've been sitting up for too long. But okay, restoration. It is a magic blender spell that recovers HP and all mental status elements. And from its use, I'm actually going to put it right over here. Somewhere close to the spell, because restoration, despite your level or despite your capabilities as a mage or your magic level or anything, always heals for 999. It heals for maximum amount. So if you somehow ended up with a mage that actually it is more likely than you think that you end up with a mage that wants to blend this in support to in as opposed to another type of mage. But I would think of certain warrior mages that might find this useful. Blending restoration. I remember one of my early runs, I used Laura, that she could use the spell that must not be named to deal with multiple enemies. She could use the sword to deal with blackout, and then she uses restoration as her healing spell of choice with her magic blender. And yeah, she could deal, and the magic blender of level 4 and the fire tablet of level 4 both are able to boost the fire damage of the spell that must not be named enough that the rest shouldn't really, that the restoration does more than enough by itself, even without, even with just a blender spell. And the other thing is, it uses life boost, overgrowth, or meditation, and these are familiar spells. So overgrowth and life boost more likely are familiar spells. So it is so low investment in terms of other spells. But now we, oh, did I miss one spell? I missed Forest Shield. Forest Shield allows magical evasions from all attacks with slash, hit, or pierce, but it only at the base rate of 20 to 40%. So 20 to 40% is about the same range as shields, right? So it's not too bad, but what it is bad for with Forest Shield is that it takes up a space of blender, and it also removes Missile Guard from your inventory. So it's just a little bit not as useful, and it needs to be somewhere around here. In the Mind Lock, Forest Shield, and Animal Charmer category. Yep, so that's generally my thought about Forest Shield. Next up will be Green Requiem. Green Requiem, full name, but what does it do? It deals no damage. It uses Thunderbringer as the base, and it inflicts blackout. And no accuracy. And the reason it has no accuracy because it guarantees inflicts blackout. And unfortunately, as cool as that sounds, it's going to be somewhere over here in the middling range and rarity range, somewhere close to Siren, a little bit less useful. It is not the fault of the spell itself, but it is because you're using Thunderbringer as the base. If you use anything else as base, then it'll be amazing. But since you use Thunderbringer as base, you're giving up your best spell for a chance to inflict back out, which is available on a sword. Not you worth the time at all. So finally, this Holy Lightning. I forgot to actually read what it does. 5 AFLE damage instead of the 4. Deals damage, opens locks. Just uses wood, water, and wood. That's the main spell point, and it's gonna go right next to, yep, Crimson Flare in terms of usefulness. Somewhere over here. Also another kind of S tier spell here. And next up, what is the next thing that we're gonna do? Okay, we have just a couple of things left: water and forbidden, right? And I'll do water first, and then I'll just do forbidden all at once to save time, just so that you know what's up over there. Okay, so let's go up to water. Return over here in this guide. We have the familiar spells, starting with Rainbringer, adds water panels to the elemental reel, and it is just going to go right next to Overgrowth in terms of uselessness. Right on top, right there. Not very useful. Not worth your time or effort of actually doing this at all. Because, like I said, it is just so useless. Doesn't do enough damage increase. Next up is Purify. Purify is the only healing spell that is available on a familiar, which is the only healing spell you could cast for free. Guess where this is going? Yes, Purify is best spell in game. Even though it's level 4, it's best spell in game. There's no need to deny it. There's just the only, don't need to deny it, just purify it. Yeah. What's the point of casting anything other than purify? It is the only healing spell in game that's available, unless you invest in Blender. I think you know where I'm going with this in terms of why this spell, like the game's magic, needs to redo things. It's just that it's so bad that this is the only non-Blender spell that heals. Bubble Blow is a damaging spell, but also on a familiar. One of the few spells that destroy magma walls, passes through magma, which is useful in and of itself. But damage is dealt except for on Vegeplans and Aquans. So, as a damage spell, it is always useful, but it is a little bit less useful, I think, somewhere below Boulder. And yeah, so it's going to be next to Armor Blessing. A little bit more useful than Armor Blessing, I think. Yeah, damage spells needs to be able to hit everybody, unfortunately. But that's the only water damage spell that's available, and it's on a level 5, so good compensation for being the only element that has a healing spell. Thank you very much. Right, let's head to the next one, which is Water Shield, Ice Needle, and Trickle. These are all spells that have different abilities. Water Shield is an effect on self, allows magical evasion from attacks with the heat attribute. Base evasion 50 to 90%, that's high. It's going to go right next to where Fire Shield is. I'm not even sure where Fire Shield is right now, but I think it's somewhere. Well, where are you, Fire Shield? Yes, just I'll put it next to where the firewall is. Useless, and it's rare, and you need to invest so much in it. Oh wait, did I put the Fire Shield over here? No. It's so hard to find, and it's still relatively useless because it's such an edge case to find enemies that cast fire. And unlike familiar spells where you happen to, oh, we have this spell available. Oh yeah, Fire Shield is actually uh, a spell on the familiar, so it's so much more useful. This is so much more rare and so much more useless and higher investment. So down here next to you, then next up will be Ice Needle. Ice Needle is an attack that deals 4 LP damage. It hits it deals both hit damage and cold damage, and it deals it to all enemies. Where are you? Yep. And it's available Metal level 4, Water level 3, 4, and Forbidden level 3. Not super rare, and right up here, top tier. Great. So now we have 2 spells that are gonna top tier for water. Right? This is so imbalanced. Water has both an attack all spell and a water healing spell, and the only healing spell. Right? Water is so broken that this next spell needs to exist to be able to make things useless again. Trickle targets all enemies and decrease the numbers of their actions by 1. So if you're faced up against a group of enemies, you have a likely chance to stop their turn completely, right? Yeah, but you need to actually find this, which is on a level 4, level 3 water wood spell, wood tablet. So down here. By the time you have this, it's already so useless. It's not worth it. Not worth looking for. Well, to be fair, it'll show up on your list of spells that you could use anyways, and it is actually just useful as blender fodder, because most of the time the characters that you want to use it on will actually have this anyways. Next up, we'll talk about the damage spells and the other spells. First up is Thunderclap. Thunderclap actually deals damage to all enemies at level L3 and inflicts paralyze. And it is relatively low investment. You use Rainbringer, which is one of the, and blah 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 as the base. And I'm gonna put it somewhere over here. It's not quite the same level of usefulness as as Ice Needle, but it is a way to give you an attack spell if you somehow don't end up with an Ice Needle. And it uses one of the most useless spells as a base instead. So that's a plus for it, which means that this is another attack spell. Now, actually, I'm just going to push it a little bit up, because if you can blend it, it is an attack spell that uses the that is available on a familiar without attack spell that uses a familiar that attacks all enemies. So I think I'm gonna put it up here now. After thinking about it, should be in the Aegis field. Yeah, I put it down a little bit and towards the left a little bit, to where the Holy Lightning meditation restoration camp is, because I wouldn't equate it on the equal footing as Aegis Shield or Thunderbringer or Holy Lightning. It's an interesting choice, but most likely you're most likely to use Ice Needle instead of this one, because there are better spells to blend in terms of water. And usually water spells you don't need to tend to blend anyways, because it's the lowest investment out of all the elements. Anyways, refresh. On the Magic Blender, you recover HP, cancel all status ailments except for can't act, and yeah, that's up here around here as well. The thing about it is, sure, it's nice, but you're giving up on it. You have to invest in it when this is another 999 healing spell, but it also cancels all status elements. Basically, full heal elixir that recovers all status elements. It's just ridiculous in how much it is actually useful. But like I said, it's a little bit too high investment in comparison to Purify, which is just almost free. All right. Next up, here are the other blended spells for water. Time Stop. Effects such as status ailments, ability changing effects, durations are temporarily stopped. You could target, if you use Purify as a target, it will target a single ally. And if you use Slow Stream, which is Trickle, then target is a single enemy. Wow. Status ailments, ability changing effects are temporarily stopped. How wonderful. Yep. I need to put it there, because it's so useless, and it also uses up a blender spell. I think this is how the developers say that, oh, water's too good. We need a couple of useless blender spells at the top just to make them useless again, right? Which is the same as Ice 9. What does it do? Change all the panels in the elemental reel to either water or forbidden panels. Wow. Why? That's like a why game. Why developers? Why do you even bother adding this spell to the game? So useless. Yeah. And I'm going to just finish things off by doing this for all of the forbidden spells. Rare, 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 rare. Okay. This is the last 4 forbidden spells. Throughout all my years of playing Unlimited SaGa, I've never cast these once. Why is that? These are spells that are only available on level 3 and level 4 forbidden tablets. Level 3 and level 4 forbidden tablets are only available by killing the Rainbow Guckies. Rainbow Guckies have a 15% chance of dropping these. That is what this game is saying. Not level 3 and level 4. Let me just even push this even further. Spell Magnet, and then Blaster. A little bit less rare because they're on level 3 and level 4 tablets. Well, actually, I would actually say maybe a little bit less rare, but that's not really true because level 3 and level 4 magic forbidden tablets still only drop from Rainbow Guckies. The level 2 one is dropped only from is only available on Judy's quest, on Judy herself, and yeah, that's pretty much the only sources of forbidden spells. Yeah, the rest of these guys though, Detect Blood, Seal of the Abyss, Degeneration, and Psycho Noise, I will just show you guys off over here. They're available as on some of the rarest tablets in the game. So let's go ahead and have a look at Forbidden Detect Blood. Detect Blood is on level 4 Fire, level 4 Water, and level Forbidden level 1, 2, and 4. So you see these from time to time. And these are also used as fodder as well in terms of spells that you could actually use to make other spells and higher level spells. So just for that alone, Detect Blood will move over onto this side. By the way, Detect all the forbidden spells are not available anywhere except from the magic tablets. So that's just another point I want to add. So they're super rare. Detect Blood will be usefulness is somewhere, I think, equivalent to Siren in terms of usefulness. A little bit less maybe, somewhere in the middle. And it's also the only detect spell that detects and weakens most things except for like basically any units that don't have blood, like undead or yeah, other things. Seal the Abyss is one of the only damaging spells that this thing has. On level 4 Fire, level 4 Wood, level 2 forbidden, level 4 forbidden, but on level 4 fire and wood only, and also available on level 2 forbidden, which is on duty at the start of our adventure. Deals damage and inflicts paralysis, which is interesting. Will decrease the enemy's damage significantly. And it's a little bit rarer, but it's going to be somewhere over here in terms of power. It is a damage dealing spell. It does also forbidden magic is calculated damage based on all your elements put together plus plus your magic stat. So it actually is very strong if you're like forbidden magic's very strong once you're a character that has multiple elements boosted. But also having multiple elements boosted is not ideal because you're losing out on some important stats. But anyways, that point being aside, Sea of the Abyss is a single target damaging spell. As you can see here, weakness only on level 4 forbidden, strength and endurance down. Oh, how useful. So weakness, where are you? Yeah, down here. Completely not worth your time to get a level 4 panel, for level 4 forbidden panel for it. Next up is Spell Magnet. Targets of all enemy spells, target of all spells enemies use are forcibly switched to the caster. Oh, that's quite interesting. Oh, where is it? Oh, level 3, level 4 tablet. Oh, yeah. Right there. Hopefully you see where I'm going with this. Okay, Degeneration is on metal level 4, and Forbidden level 2 up to 4. Okay, it inflicts poison. Wow. What does poison do? Poison does damage to HP. If their HP is 0, it does LP damage. I think that's what it says on the guide. I've never seen poison actually do LP damage on any of my characters, so I can't tell. So it might be interesting to use on some bosses, but oh, you know what? Since it's so hard to find, yeah, it's gonna be somewhere like, yeah, like down here. Such an edge case in terms of usefulness here. Finally, okay, at least some useful spells. Psycho Noise. Oh wait, Blaster deals damage and inflicts back out. Oh wow, inflicting back out with the damage. Amazing. Where's, oh yeah, Forbidden level 3 and 4. Ovion deals LP damage only. LP damage of 9. Also quite amazing. Where is it? Oh, it's on level 4. Yeah. So these are the spells that are just locked behind the ability to cast them. It's useless. And okay, Psycho Noise right here is deals 3 LP damage, deals damage, inflicts magic, spirit, and elements down, targets all enemies, 3 LP damage, fire, metal, forbidden. The only spell, forbidden spell at the very least, that is worth actually using next to Seal of the Abyss. They're about equally as rare, but yeah, only spell that's kind of up here. Blaster is, Ophion is also quite middling. Like over here, inflicting LP damage only. Would be nice if I could actually see it. Blaster, let me just put it somewhere over here. Might be good for digging away at the final boss, but we have to actually test that out too. Anyways, look at this. You already now would be able to see why the magic system needs a revamp. All this forbidden spells that's so hard to learn, so hard to get, is not worth using. The best spells belong in a certain element, and spells aren't created equal. There's so many useless spells. There's just so much useless spells. Maybe I could shrink this down and make this look a little bit better, but yeah, there's just so many useless spells that it is not worth your time actually trying to actually farm for this. But that being said, thank you for joining me on this 1 hour and 40-minute journey. It's me, I'm Biggy, and I'll be back next time. Hopefully this will just let you guys see what I could draw some conclusions about this, but I think this will be helpful. as a supplemental video to my magical analysis video because I actually had to do this as part of that thing, I guess. But yeah, anyways, it's nice to see you guys again. Hopefully things will work out a little bit better in terms of whether if I could start playing games again. But so far, this is the kind of thing that I need to do for now as a supplemental video. But still, I was able to sit up for 1.5, nearly 2 hours today, so that's good. And I'm gonna use this chance to thank my members: Happy Lux, Nandameta, Sifrville, Double, Rafael Vega Chapa, and Techno. You guys support me monetarily to make sure I do this kind of content. And I know that having a broken laptop is not the most ideal situation right now, but I'm still trying to make some content, so I hope this will suffice. That being said, if you want to join the membership program to help me out, check out the link below in the join button, and it'll tell you all the details on what the various tiers are. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, like it. If you want to see more, subscribe and click on the bell notification to maybe get to see me live sometime. But I think that's going to have to be it for now. I am way overdue for a sit down and for some meals. It's me. I'm Biggy, and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Bye for now. Alrighty then, folks. I'm back, and I'm on the bed, which means I've had some time to rest, and I've had some time to, change my clothes and lie down for a bit and reorganize this bad boy. So at the very least, all the spells are now visible. I should have actually just made everything in a circle. All the squares make a circle. That's a bit of an obscure reference there. But anyways, by turning everything into a circle, there's more space for things for you to be able to see right over here. So, although this is not the most accurate positions of everything, this is the only position that I've set up so that all the spells are visible, and they might be more accurately placed on the map. But yeah. Anyways, let's just talk about things in general. Well, first of all, I was going to actually add a tier list to this as well, but I do not think that is necessary anymore. I think this picture right here speaks more than actually ranking everything in a tier list. So for you guys who actually want to see a tier list, I'm sorry. This is probably the more useful, useful rather than useless. This is more useful for me in terms of what I need as a persuasion or as an argument for what needs fixing in the magic system. All right. And there's a couple of trends that we'll see that is going to be pretty obvious if you actually have a look at it. First off, let's me move my mouse over right here, and let's talk about the ideal, or what's the best practice in terms of magic spells or any kind of system at all, right? The magic system or physical system or art system or whatever you want to call it, or whichever part of the RPG, should have a trend. And the trend is the more common the spells, the more useless they are, and the more rare the spells, the more useful they are, right? And there are spells over here that falls into that trend, and that is good. Pellet, for example, is super rare, but it is also super game-breakingly strong, and that's fine. That is actually rare and strong. The water veils and all the other veils and the detect golds are mostly useless, and they're very edge cases, but they're super common, and that's fine. Yep. The only problem starts to arise when there are spells that deviate from this pattern. For example, Overgrowth and Rainbringer, and Life Boost and Fire Shield, and Build Up and Power Surge. Like, these spells are okay, they're fine, they're flavorful, but if only they were a little bit more useful, right? And some of the times it's not even the fault of the spell itself. If only, for example, like Rainbringer and Overgrowth changes the panels on the elemental reel, right? And only if the panels on the elemental reel have a bigger impact on the spells that you cast. Like currently, it has a very slight impact, maybe 5-ish percentage. I'm not sure what the percentage is exactly, uh, but it's listed as slight, so almost no impact. Yeah, basically. If it impacts something like increases the output of your spells by 50%, then it'll be worth actually changing the panels into a certain element. And you could make it a focus, like a proper focus, on the magic, uh, how to use your magic in the game. Like it's also very flavorful already that certain bits of magic is less useful than in certain environments, and I'm not sure if it's a last minute decision by Kawazu or anything to actually decrease the amount of variance of the magic so that it's more consistent. But anyways, if only if we tweak the magic system so that more damage is dealt through the panels, then this will immediately be more useful. And some of these shield spells will and like fire shield and other spells like that will be more useful. Life boost also, things like life boost needs just a bit more of an upgrade. Sleep, for example, is a great place for the where the spells should be, like of this caliber, because it is quite useful. It is useful in certain situations. It's not rare. You occasionally find a situation where you, hey, we're fighting against a Tauti. Um, it's a boss, and hey, we already have sleep on a character because we have a level 4 familiar. Might as well use it and then just combo into the enemy. That kind of stuff. That's always useful in edge cases. Is a great place for where these are going to be. And I think recycle, bubble blow, and armor blessing are at the right spot as well, up over here. Um, Now the problems starts to arise once we start going into learned spells or spells that are only available via learning magic tablets, right? These should have a lot more impact. I think Missile Guard, Supersonic, and Holy Seal, as well as Ice Needle, despite being super strong, is in a right spot of where these spells should be. There's and Thunderbringer and Aegis Shield also, kind of in the right spot of where these spells should be. Thunderbringer is a little bit OP, but I think that's already intentional because it's the only attack spell, and you could only get it from learning higher level tablets in its rarity. But spells like Trickle and Animal Charmer and Mind Lock and Anti-Fear and Water Shield and Weapon Blessing and Firewall, these spells are so middling. Not middling, they're bad. They're bad spells. There's no way around it. They're so useless that it's not worth learning them. It's not worth investing our time to learn them. And now is the blended spells. Blended spells, like I said, is even rarer. Yep. Like the rarer the spells, the more powerful it should be. Um, which means that spells over here that are, highlighted in gold, these are fine. These are completely, these are where they should be power wise, right? But look at this. Look at this huge cluster of spells that I've deemed useless. Like this is enough of a turn off for um like this is a huge turn off for uh all of like for Magic Blender. Like why should I actually blend these spells in comparison to these spells, right? You should actually have decision paralysis like once you have Magic Blender. You should say that, oh my goodness, I've got these huge like amount of like really powerful spells. Which one do I use? Oh no, which one do I actually have to pick now? And that's kind of the good decision paralysis that you will have. It's a kind of decision paralysis you go on to Reddit and forums back in the day, and it's like, okay, I've got Blender. What should I do? What should I use? I have these spells, but I can't decide. That's an amazing feeling, and it should be a feeling to strive for once you get something like Magic Blender available, right? Um, and finally, of course, is the problem of these guys. The Forbidden Magic being so rare is unfortunate. It's not like so rare. It's impossibly rare. It's really just only available on Rainbow Cookies, right? And B, only available as at level 3 or level 4. So if I say wanted to be able to cast every magic spell in the game ever, right? I need at least one encounter with the Rainbow Gucky and use how many save states as I ever wanted to make sure that I get a level 4 magic tablet from the Gucky, the heretical scroll, or whatever it's going to be called, to make sure that actually we have Ophion or Blaster or Spell Magnet or Weakness cast. And they're, like I said, level 3 or level 4 doesn't matter. Only place you find them is Rainbow Cookies. If they're available somewhere in the game as part of a like secret side quest, that'll be fine. But of course, if it's just available from Rainbow Cookies, which is a new game plus feature and requires you to fight the hardest battle in the game to be able to obtain it, obviously useless. And of course, they should be up here in terms, like all of them should be like up on the top left in terms of strength, but they're not. So in conclusion, uh, that's mainly the most important things that Magic needs to needs help in revamping. Mostly making blended spells more powerful. Some of the blended spells more powerful, making some of these forbidden spells more easily accessible, whichever way we're going to do that, and just making sure that some of these learned spells are a little bit, just a tad more useful. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for joining in on this really long journey. And hopefully I'll be able to use this information in making an informed decision on the next video, which is going to be the most comprehensive magic systems guide and review ever. I hope you guys look forward to that. But that being said, it's me, I'm Biggy, and I'll be back. See you guys next time. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, click on the bell to get notified for when I go live. I hope you enjoyed the new little slider group thingy here as well. And yeah, see you guys in a bit. Thanks for being here. Thank you also to all my members, Apilux, Renamanta, Sifrot, Veldabon, Rafael, Vega Chapa, and Techno. And I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye for now. See you in a bit. Loading screen, please. There we go.